Hello, so welcome to Awwwards Academy. I am Rachel, the producer. Thanks for joining us today. We are streaming live. Awwwards Academy is an online education platform for designers and developers like yourself. And every single week, we've got new courses on there. So you should check it out. At the moment, what we've got new, we've got using Cinema 4D for making pictures. We've got building your portfolio with WebGL. So there's loads of new stuff on there every week. So do check it out. Yes, so please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and there you can find all of the old jury reviews, talks, and loads of interesting stuff for you. Yes, so let's meet today's jury. Let's go.
Hello.
Hello.
Rachel.
All right, so let's do it. So we have got Jonas Lempa, Partners and Creative Director at Taikonauten. Hello.
Hi, Rachel. Hi, Bruno. Hi, Olga. Hi, community. Looking forward to today's session. This is going to be very interesting. So thank you very much for the opportunity, and let's go.
Yeah, we've got Olha Uzhykova, Design Director at Netrix. Hello, Olga.
Hello from Ukraine to everyone. Happy to be here today with some guys, Bruno and Jonas, and you, Rachel. And let's have some fun today.
Yay, it's a pleasure to have you on, Olga. Okay, and also we've got Bruno Arizio, Designer and Creative Director at Studio BA. Now, this is Bruno's third live jury review now, isn't it, Bruno?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we had like one last year, now one in Portuguese, and now this is the third one. Yeah, I'm very happy to be here. Very happy to see friends and people in the chat. So hope we have some fun. It's gonna be a great one, pretty sure.
Yeah, it's always a good time when you're here, Bruno. So
thank you.
It's gonna be.
That's lovely.
Okay, awesome. So everyone, remember to put your questions in the chat, and I'll join you for the Q&A at the end. So I'll leave you now with Jonas to kick off the review. So have a good one.
Thank you very much. Hi to the community. Hi to everybody. This is going to be a very interesting session today. We are looking forward to all your comments, questions, and participation in today's review. And we are going to check out Lens by Science, created by a trio of Nelson, Roger, and Clément. Hi, I think that you guys are joining, so we are pleased to talk about today's website, or to talk about your website you created. So thank you very much for this opportunity. But before we go into some details, let's have an overview. Olga, would you like to talk to share with us our today's highlights?
Sure. So today we are going to discuss the overall composition of the website. Of course, it's usability and aesthetics, and we are going to go a little bit more deeper in Swiss styles and discuss why it is so popular nowadays. And of course, we will discuss beautiful typography and scroll animation, and this interesting solution with diagonal animation on these websites. Of course, we will be talking about user experience and about the product that is behind these websites, and motion and beautiful photography.
Thank you very much for this summary. The website is going to be about Lens, which is a product, a service from the health tech area, introduced to us, introduced to the audience. Let's have a quick check on the performance. The awards team made a page speed insight check, and we have here a rate of 84, a couple of opportunities to improve, which we are also probably going to talk about later today. But let's jump into the website and to this very pleasant experience. Welcome to Lens by Science. Bruno, what's your first impression of the intro, of this beautiful entrance?
Well, can you hear me good? Yep.
Yes.
So that's great. Yeah, I think it's the first thing that I think about the site overall is how dynamic it feels, right? Even from the loading up to like the first thing that you see, like the lenses and this kind of like textiles like passing through. And I think one of the first things that I think you feel when you land on the site is like this very dynamic atmosphere that you feel, and I think that it's carried through the entire experience. I think this is very dynamic. It's very, I think you never left off with like almost like a flat screen. Every time you scroll, every time you are anything, it's always like something moving. It's always something like bringing your attention. So I think that's probably one of the first things that really catches the eye. And yeah, I don't know what you guys think.
I actually really love how this site is loading. It's like pretty smooth, and you don't have this feeling that you need to wait till something is loaded, and it gives a feeling of fast and good working website. And it's just also like nice, beautiful picture, nice animations.
Absolutely. And since probably I'm going to say something now, which I'm going to add later, but it's at the first moment, it's a little bit hard to get what's the product all about and the service all about. But what I really like is that they are bringing this statement at the beginning. Yeah, bringing doctors tools to be paper-free. And I think that this is a very interesting sentence or an interesting punchline when you see the first animation or see the first loading screen, because somehow you do not necessarily connect that with a medical device or medical service, or maybe the lens or whatever it's going to be. And we have here a little bit a short sentence, introducing the actual product, which let me get back. An artificial intelligence that transforms mountains of paper into vital data about your patients with a single click. And with that, we are scrolling down to the page and getting to the next viewport, where we can see several things. Bruno, what do you think about that?
Before even to talk about this screen, I was also going to comment something that I think it's quite interesting about the site, that although it uses a lot of 3D, but it's pre-rendered, right? It's not WebGL. I was even like inspecting the site to have a look, but I couldn't see any traces of WebGL. And that's just an interesting element, because the site is very fluid, and I think it doesn't like have these, because sometimes when you add like too many elements with WebGL, especially like this, you have particles, you have like these like textures and folding kind of like textiles. And I think if we're going to use, if they were going to use like WebGL, that would be very complicated, because it would, the site would be very slow. And I think that the solution for that, of using pre-rendered things, even because like it looks very nice, and the quality of the video, even it's very good. So it's to that point, I think it's a great, almost like a great showcase of, using 3D without WebGL. I think that's a good point even to bring to the story. And yeah, I think another thing that I look at here, and I think it's interesting, is I think from the very start, from the very first page, and then when we look at this thing here, there's this like allegory about, the Swiss style and like this minimalist kind of aesthetic, right? You have this very grid-based thing. Even in the home page, the first landing page, you have like the subhead, the little comment about the lenses. They're not, in the center as like many sites would do. It's kind of like hidden in the lower left corner, right? And that's, I think, it kind of shows you like that kind of inheritance of the Swiss style, of like this thing that you would see in books from the first half of the century, that the last century. So I think I don't know what you guys think Olga?
Yeah, I actually love the whole aesthetics of the website and love composition and use 3D fonts. And but the thing is, even like on this block of website, I see the heading like read any medical file, and I see this beautiful 3D, and I'm trying to connect it. Okay, so is it a medical file? What is a medical file? Maybe they are doing some product, not digital one, right? Something that you have some, I don't know, bracelet or some label or whatever with your medical history or something like this, and trying to, my brain trying to like combine it and build some story. And yeah, so on the one hand, this is very beautiful how this site is different from other healthcare websites. It's not like corporate style. It's not like everything blue, like blue buttons and all of this. So it shows that healthcare can be different, that healthcare product can be modern, can be fashion, can be good looking. But at the same time, somewhere on these beautiful 3Ds and websites, the product a little bit lost.
Yeah, I think that's a very good point you're mentioning, Olga. The health tech area or the pharmacy area is such a rapidly changing market or industry in the last couple of years, and I think that there's a great chance to position yourself in a leading position by finding out what are possibilities, but also what are edges, and what can you actually bring. How much style, how much marketing, how much advertising can you bring to a B2B page? Because I mean, we all believe that this is probably a service doctors or medical professionals are using, and it's an interesting approach because B2B is still humans to humans, and finding these new opportunities at this point is very cool and very interesting, and also very brave. Not everybody would have the guts to do that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think I think overall, I mean, I kind of like agree with the thing that, you know, it's, and I think we're probably going to talk about that fact that, you know, maybe the product can be sometimes a bit lost within this entire like aesthetic. You know, it's like very structured and like, you know, grid based. Like the visuals, like they really pop very much, and sometimes, you know, since you don't have like, maybe you might lack a little bit of visual tension, right? In the like, for example, the combinations of texts. I mean, if I just scroll the whole thing without really reading every step, I mean, I might be, you know, end up with like, well, what's this about, right? And I think so the site kind of invites you to like, you need to read everything that's being told to you in this narrative so you can understand what's this about, and, you know, what's the intention. But yeah, I think like aesthetically, I think the site is beautiful. I think it's a great example of something that, you know, even combined with like this very, you know, rigid grid structures, but with like everything is moving, everything is very dynamic. I think it creates this very nice aura around the site. But yeah, I think at some point the content can be a little lost, and I think that's something that we might even need to talk about. I don't know.
I think lost content is a good topic here, because I think at the beginning you have like this lens and you think of a physical product, then you have this flying whatever, which makes a great impression and creates an unbelievable great brand experience. But at the end, you're not 100% getting what it's all about. And I think this part here is very, very, very interesting, because basically with three very simple elements, you're creating a thing to understand what's all about. We have a text, we have a circle, and we have shades of gray. And these things combined are showing you the actual purpose of this website and this purpose of this service. And I think that's a very good, interesting combination, even if it's super crazy present, this text, and super oversized typography. It's an interesting way to actually explain a product. What do you think, Olga?
Yeah, I really love this section, and even part where most of content at the beginning is hidden. And on the one hand, it's hides some content from you, but on the other hand, you stop on this section and you want to read it and you want to explore it, because it's like a pretty big amount of text. And users usually don't read the big long texts, but in this section, this was like I wanted to read it, I wanted to explore, and I want to know more. So I like this idea, and this section, it's pretty cool.
Yeah, I was going to add another thing about this section that, you know, even if you can just go back for a second again to the lens kind of thing, because it's a good. Which
is unfortunately not possible. I need to reload the website. Okay. Yeah.
All right, because I think that's an interesting thing that they're doing, like playing with the main feature of the product, which is the lens, right? So you have this circle that's like the lens, right? And then as you hover over the different headlines, different like key words like sleep apnea or aspirin, you're in the mouse, it's like understanding what is this about. And if you really decide, if you use which you're going to do that next, I think you're going to see like how in the demo of the product, it shows how it works, and it shows how it understands and recognizes different words, and that's what it digitalizes. So that's kind of like a little like a way to show that in the digital environment, you know, what the product does, like with this big, you know, text. But yeah, I was going to say another thing before going into the photography, that like one is about this, almost like it's becoming almost a trend now, this Swiss kind of aesthetic, you know, this return to the Swiss style, return to this something that was kind of lost, you know, maybe in the first decade of the you know 2010s. I mean, people are now really keen on having this, and now this kind of this kind of mindset of the modernism is coming back as an aesthetic, even less about the philosophy behind that movement and why that became a thing, but more about an aesthetic trend. We could even say that. I think that trend in this side really, it's a great combination, because what the Swiss style kind of brings is this sterile view, this very rigid, clean, you know, I think it conveys the cleanliness, you know, it conveys sterile, it conveys, you know, the grays and the whites and the blacks. I mean, it shows that, you know, the site is very clean, it's not dirty. And since it's a healthcare environment, you know, it's a health industry, right? It's an interesting combination of how the usage of this aesthetic device, as the modernism, as Swiss style and all that, kind of combines and becomes this site. I think it's an interesting use. And yeah, and anyway, I think
I mean, it's a very thin line, but we will talk about that later. Yeah. Regarding typography and accessibility in a B2B context. But we had some interesting pre-discussions regarding this point. So let's move forward and get to this point. Olga, these freaking beautiful photography. What do you think about that?
Yes, it's definitely beautiful. I love how it looks, and I want to buy these suits, you know, because it seems like some fashion e-commerce website, and it. On the first site, I was thinking that maybe the product somehow related to clothes, because clothes is beautiful and models are beautiful and photography is beautiful, and I really love it, but just don't get the relations from these photographers to the product itself. Who are these people? Are these people who actually going to like read your medical file, or these are your doctors.
Yeah, your
These are
doctors,
your
yeah.
doctors. This is beautiful. I mean, I want to have such doctors. But yeah, really interesting to get the idea behind such photography and why guys decided to use like this photography, this picture on the website. It's really interesting for me.
I mean, it's a beautiful style, no question about that. Content is really first class. About the context, I would like to discuss a little bit more, because I think, and I would also be interested in what Bruno is going to say, is that this look and feel, yeah. but
don't throw that to me, no, don't keep it to yourself.
No, but it's just like a really beautiful content, but I think it can be even misleading of the purpose of this website. A user can get lost when I think that maybe some kind of CEO of a hospital or whatever is looking for new services, devices, whatever, and then it's really hard to emphasize with a situation like that. And I would like to underline what Olga said, that it's a very interesting approach.
And it's interesting to know who are the potential users. Yes. Yeah, who the site is created for. It's companies, it's some individuals, and who actually a target audience. Maybe, yeah, if you know it, something will be more clear.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I was going to say that. I mean, yeah. First thing, the photography are gorgeous. Definitely, I think you know. If we just going to analyze, you know, the photographs, I think, you know, the lighting, you know, the models, this very, again, it's I think it combines, and it makes a great fit for the other thing that I was talking about, of like the cleanliness of the site, this sterile attitude to because you're like in, let's think about, like, you know, a hospital, like, you know, you need to have like sterile elements, you have this atmosphere that is supposed to be not warming, it's cold, you know, and it's because you want to pass this idea of like, well, this is cold, this is clean, this is, and I think the photograph, they do a great job in portraying that, you know, kind of like distant, cold, clean kind of environment. And if you take that combined to the rest of the site, I think it kind of fits in very well. I mean, the photograph fits in very well with this white environment and all that. But yeah, I think they are a little bit like they are like fashion photography, right? Yeah. And then that's maybe what we look at, and then like what's the narrative that I'm trying to take from this, right? Is this like, because I agree that, I mean, it could be a photograph shooting for a fashion brand, it could be, you know, a photograph shoot for, you know, maybe like an Apple device, like she's holding an iPhone, you know, so, or like, I don't know, what's that other thing, is that an iPad? I mean, I think you know, it could be so it's a very like fashion oriented, like I would say even like attitude oriented thing, but this is something that we also need to keep in mind, is that where is the product in these like images, in these scenarios, right? I think I was even thinking about that, and we were talking just before we went live, that, I mean, we don't know what's the briefing. We don't know. I mean, we're just like, we're doing our best guess about understanding, like, you know, what happened, what is the site about, you know, how is the relationship between the client, what's the product about. I think, but to my own experience, I've received briefings from projects that the client, for example, didn't have the project to show at that point. It wasn't ready, you know, or even like the product was not as beautiful, you know, when they wanted to portray that, you know, in an interesting way. And to some extent, I think as designers, as web designers, maybe even, we are communicators, right? These sites, even most sites in the awards the landscape, I would say, they are not necessarily products. They're usually like communicative tools to communicate a product, right? So and to that extent, I think that, again, we don't know what was the underlying decisions and what transformed the site to be like this. But what I see when I look at this is that maybe, either the client didn't want to show the product, or the product was not like, developed to a point that was like, beautifully crafted. And
but
then
we're getting to this point to the product, Bruno. Very soon.
What?
We're getting to the product now. So
no, yeah. But I was just going to say that, the usage of like these motifs, the lenses, the 3Ds, the textiles, everything that is being used, I think it's like a great way to depict that, communication, like the site as a communication tool. And yeah, I think, if the site, if maybe the product, and we do have like a screenshot of the product at some point, but it's like very minor, it's very small, and you have the demo, and the demo, it's basically part of the visual narrative of the site. And I think, I don't know, I look at this and I just get me to think about how this thing came through, and what was the idea behind using this more like abstract, motif devices as the lenses, the 3D, to like convey the product and what the product does.
I would be really interested. No, thank you. I mean, that's absolutely right, and I would be also very interested in what the community is thinking about it. Is it like a clear line? Is it a back and forth of topics? And what's the opinion about all the designers and creators out there? Because I think that this is a very interesting topic to discuss for a long time. In the meantime, I moved forward to the next page, the lens page. Olga, what do you think about this?
Yeah, actually, as all other pages in terms of visual, in terms of composition, is pretty cool. Wanted to add one thing regarding communication that Bruno mentioned. I agree that sometimes that website, it's about communicate the product, but the key things, you need actually communicate the product and don't mislead users. So in this communication, users should understand what the product is about, and don't like misread like the main message and the main product. And yeah, I think it's interesting to go and yeah, and here we actually see the product or some part of the product, like demo part, which you maybe not you can miss when you scroll website. So for example, I miss this part and see the demo maybe when I reviewed website third or fourth time, and then I show the demo, and then it was, wow, seems like a SaaS product. I haven't expected it. And yeah, and when I open it, I started getting the whole idea. I came back to whole website, start reading the story, and yeah, but at the first time it was a little bit hard to understand, and this part, this actually, I get the demo of the product itself, and I assume that it shows that you can scan some healthcare documents and get the main points from it to the system like right away, like Guy saying, in one click. And on the right side, you can see this like some medications added, some diagnoses, some like medical stuff, and you can select which one you would like to add and confirm, and this is done. So the idea is pretty cool, and this is why I think why it's not communicating a little bit more on website, because it's something that's really needed. And what is guys tell on the first banner that tons of paper are wasted on some medical diagnosis. Yes, this is a huge problem, and I think good idea, good product. Just wanted a little bit more product, a little bit more about product on the website.
I mean, this piece here is so important, I think, because I always try to emphasize with the target group, and we are communicating a lot of promises, so this is changing the world and everything. And I'm missing all the time a little bit of the proof of these promises, and it's getting a little bit late from my point of view. So it's actually also hard to find the show demo button, but the demo itself is so clear and actually really, really good. You have all the things combined. You can experience it. You have even the way that you have the feeling that you're actually teaching the AI to become better and better. And I think that this is a very important proof of the communication, because without like a proof, it's just like advertising. And in this context, we would like to bring value and a purpose. And so I think that's a very, very important point here to show this actual demo, and it's perfect that it's there. It maybe comes a little bit late. But Bruno, what do you think about this section of getting this proof at this point?
I think that, well, I mean, the show demo button definitely like enlightens what the product is about in
you
a
missed
very
it, right?
I didn't saw that in the first place. Guilty. Anyway, I think well, the product is like it's something that's really interesting, and what I like when I look at the site, in a very kind of like holistic, way, what I think it portrays. I mean, it's like technology with this cleanliness and kind of like sterile environment. It feels like it's like when you start to take things combined, and especially when on that specific portion, when you have the people interacting with the product, with the devices and all that, and then into the right you have with the real product. I think it's a way to connect the both things. And again, I'm gonna just hit on that same point again. You have that person. I think. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't think there's like a screen on the computer. And I think, I think that the product, the way that the site was probably conceived, you had to do things in silos. I mean, the photography was happening in silo. The product, maybe either like was added later, or like, or maybe like this whole like demo thing is happening, in the real side. It's not maybe it's not even emulating the real product. I mean, it's part of the same. If you take the product, it's part of the same visual aesthetic of the site. And I think when I look at this, I see like what maybe was the friction points of the professionals that were working in the site. Like how maybe to Roger's point of view. I mean, how can I portray this product, if I don't have the product, how can I, there's all these like little elements that probably became real challenges during the creative process of the site. Because I mean, I'm gonna say from experience that happened to me the same. Like we're working. I remember like when we were working for a product that we didn't have the real product, and we had to like conceptualize everything in 3D. And then it becomes a little disconnected, and that sometimes is like a problem with the process of the client. How the client wants to create the site and all that. But like overall, like, well, the product, it's what it does. Like it's very interesting thing, you know, like even if you think about like sustainability, you know, like removing big loads of paper, and you're like digitalizing the doctor, like, you know, environment, the medical examines and that environment. So all that is really like important for the future of our planet, you know. Maybe that could be even like something that could be emphasized in the site. Maybe yes, you know, maybe we could maybe like a sustainability section could be interesting, you know, that, because to that point, I mean, it's a really good thing to the planet. So yeah, I think, you know, it's great. The photography are great. I love this like split screen thing that happens, you know, to
Super
one
nice,
side
yeah.
you have the photography, to the other side you have the product, and now you have this like photography like screen that you only have photography. And yeah, I think, you know, what the photography is doing to this experience, when it's adding to the experience, it's atmospheric, you know. I think it's not about maybe, it's not about showing the product, but it's about showing the attitude, showing the atmosphere. You know, I think that in the comments, Nelson mentioned the target audience was like young doctors open to new technology, moving away from this old school thought and moving to more like WeWork culture. And I think that, yeah, the photography kind of like enables that kind of move, right? You know, the doctors that are being portrayed are like young and modern. They're using, you know, devices that maybe like the old doctors wouldn't use. Like old doctors would use like, you know, pen and paper. So all these things, I think they really add to the atmospheric element of the site. You know, there's like a feeling of what is the doctor of tomorrow? You know, is that guy? Maybe it is, you know. And I think that's what I think. I don't know, maybe I'm just overthinking, you know, but like I think that's maybe what the objective was with the photography and the use of this decisions of like layout and all that.
Absolutely, good point. Yeah, that's true.
And we actually had a comment from Nelson regarding target audience, that this is young doctors who are open to new technology. And I assume that maybe yes, maybe as if I was a young doctor, I would wanted to work with such, you know, websites and such software, something modern, not so old, and something that looking forward and not to the past. So yeah.
It's behavior, really. Sorry, go on.
Bro, please.
No, I was just say it's behavior even to that extent. I mean, you know, like when, you know, you look, Apple is a great example of what they do with behavioral change, right? They create this like beautiful, like, you know, landing pages of products that you feel like, wow, I mean, I need this AirPods, I need this new MacBook, I need this iPad, because it's like behavior, you know, it's like it's showing that person that is really cool and it's using that computer or that device to, you know, do their lives, you know, and then it's like, oh, I need that. And I think what they're doing here is probably the same mindset. I think it's the same idea. It's like, it's behavioral, you know, it's like using photography to like portray, you know, what doctors would like to look like that kind of like reality and an ideal scenario. And yeah, to that regard, it does a great job.
It for sure takes a lot of courage to do that from client side, from the designers, from everybody developing it, because this is for sure not the traditional way. And again, B2B are humans to humans too. And from this point of view, I think that's a very interesting approach. And nevertheless, this website is beautiful. And I think it's fantastic that you can discuss the purpose and how does it address and things like that, because this is all about finding out what is the next step, and they are trying to do the next step in an industry which is constantly changing, since we are also having a lot of clients in this area, and so very, very, very interesting approach for sure.
Yeah, I was just going to mention, like, because we're talking a lot about the content and we're not talking about maybe too much about the visuals at this point, and making a connection to what I said in the beginning about like everything is very interactive, and now we're looking at the menu and you have like everything, you have these parallax. Even when we were before a couple of seconds ago when we were like in that split screen of like images. As you scroll through, as you passes your mouse, the images like kind of tilted a little bit. The menu is really interesting because I love the way that they did of the menu, that it kind of like takes you out of that section of the portion of the site that you're looking at, and then you remove from that. You kind of like have this like bird's eye view, like top view of everything, and then it kind of goes back to that point. I think that's really cool. I think that's really a way to create this. I think this is lovely because it's a way to create immersiveness without the it's almost like a trick because it's not really 3D. It's not really WebGL. It's not. I don't think so. Maybe Clément can even like enlighten that for us. But I couldn't see any traces of WebGL on the side. And what Clément and Nelson they're doing with the way that things react in the side. The menu. When you go to the menu, it kind of like removes and then it goes back. It's a great trick because it's just beautiful the way that it removes you and then puts you back to the experience, and you have no loading screens, you have nothing. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I wanted to add regarding menu. I really love it. I love that it's not just text, that it's some sections and you walk through it. There is only one thing. When I first time open it, how can I get back?
Yeah.
And there is actually no way back. You just need to select a section, and I don't remember from which section I came from. So the only way to close menu is just select some of the section, and then where I was. And the same thing is I wanted to mention regarding scroll. Scroll itself is pretty awesome, and this diagonal scroll is cool. It's something I would say not so commonly used, but at the same time it's pretty good on this website and gives this great feeling. But when you come to some sections, like for example the fourth one or the third one, and you try to scroll back, you can't do it. So, and it's like a little bit, I thought when I thought, so you can scroll down.
Now you can't, yeah.
But you can scroll up. And so maybe I broke something, or maybe something is wrong. What did I wrong? And so this was a little bit like distraction for me. And these are two things that made me a little bit lost on website. So the questions, how can I navigate back? Mm-hmm. How can I come back to the section I was? This is pretty hard.
I think this is a very interesting point also, because this is the holy grail, right? The balance between minimalism and usability and style and form follows function and trends and things like that. And this is very interesting balance you need to find out in regards of how far do you want to go, how far, who is the target group, how can you combine marketing approaches with actual explanation of products and services. And so they decided for a specific balance, which is I think very, very interesting, and for many people exciting, and for also I think also other people maybe a little bit slowing down, let's say it like this, maybe not necessarily immediately knowing what's all about and getting to the right thing. And I think this kind of courage is important to find out new ways, new trends, new combination of different things. And so even if I think that it's for the target group hard to get everything, I think these three creatives did a very, very nice and very interesting and pleasing job.
I was just going to add last thing, because also, I think we might like to take some time for the Q&A. But that's a great point as well. It's the fact that, it's a great site. It works very well. And I think that, as we were talking about here, it might have some things that, could be improved to the content aspect, to other things. But at the same time, what I love about this is that it's three independent like creatives like working. It's not like, you know, an agency is not a studio. It's not, you know, it's like 3 people like bashing their heads and try to like solve this in a very smart way. And it doesn't look like it's just 3 people. There's like this amazing 3D element to it. There is great photography, you know, there's the graphic design is great, you know, so it's so interesting that like how so deep and complex project that could have been done for like any of like, you know, the recognized agencies and studio that we usually, you know, refer back in these jury reviews and in the community in general. It could be done by one of those agencies, but no, it's done by 3, you know, minds. It's done by 3 people like trying to solve the problem together. And I think that's a great it's a great thing, you know. It's just yeah, it's fantastic to see like how these 3 people create, you know, together something like this. It's very.
I would like really.
They should be honored.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason why they won Side of the Day, right? So yeah, absolutely. And what I would really like to know is this actually a real product? Is it an MVP kind of thing, finding out of response? Is this product actually already there, or is this some kind of exploration? Because it's so focused on the product and on the service that I don't even know who's the sender, who are the people behind this, who are the great minds of creating an artificial intelligence, making such a beautiful service and clever service. That's something what I would like to know. Who is behind that? Who are the people with this great idea and interesting approach? And would really like to know. Maybe we can get some feedback on that. How far is this product actually there, or is this kind of an exploration? If it's possible to go even deeper into this topic. But yeah.
Yep. Well, let's hear from them.
Really
they might reply us. Yeah,
I mean, we are almost at the point where we need to jump to the Q&A, and before that, maybe we would like to have a last look on the sign up page, where I mean, it's all about this call to action. It's about learning about this product, learning about you're getting navigated through all the different pages, and then you're coming here to the end of the sign up page. Olga, what do you think about this funneling and how the sign up page looks like?
Yeah, regarding sign up page, for me it seems like guys put a lot of efforts to the whole website, but not to the sign up page. And there is a like everywhere on website, nice big bold typography, and here we see like pretty small font size. And the key point regarding send button, if you did something wrong and you try to click on send button and nothing happened, you can understand what is wrong, how you can send it, or you're supposed to send it or not. Is this so small send button and you need to hit it, or what it is? So you spend a lot of time trying to figure out actually how to send something.
Yes, now you can. It was because what it did.
It's like these micro usability things, like this instant live feedback that I forgot.
Oh, okay.
That I forgot an ad here, yeah, and oops, that I forgot the ad here, or
some hints for users will be like so helpful here.
I mean, it's such an important page. You want to lead people to interact, and you want to lead people to a certain point, and it's a great funnel. I mean, you're getting excited to a topic that you want to be part of the private beta, and then maybe a couple of additional things could be made here to make it even more easy to access, right? What do you think, Bruno?
Yeah. I think that some affordability wouldn't be bad. You know, I mean, to the fact that maybe like if you don't have the ads, you know, added, you could say like have like a little red line or something saying like, well, you forgot about the ad, you know, that's why you cannot continue. That wouldn't hurt. I think could be good. But yeah, I think Yeah, it's a simple form. I mean, there's nothing that I can say about, the only thing that I can say is actually, yes, I mean, maybe some affordability, feedback could be interesting to show that the user, I mean, you're missing some information. That's why you cannot hit us with your message. But yeah, I think despite that, I think everything in a way it's works in the way that it's supposed to. Also, I was just reading the comments. Matt Jones is the CEO of the product, and he's here as well. So
Hi.
yeah, the product really exists. And he was putting some comments and insights here.
Cool.
Lots of things. I mean, I couldn't read everything because I'm paying attention to what you're saying as well. But yeah, I'm gonna read later about it anyway. But yeah, I think so. Yeah, he mentions about from a sales view, you have to do direct outreach. The real question is whether the site's exciting, collateral to help the sales process. So, in that regard, I think, the main idea of the site is like to create this reaction of like excitement, of like it's motion driven, it's great. It's, the communication element was really important for the site, I think. And he says that in terms of direct conversions, this is the less important of the side from our view. It's very difficult to get direct conversions from doctors for any software. So to that regard, he says that the sign up, it's not like the main point. Mm-hmm. The main point is actually about the atmospheric element, like there's generating excitement in the industry. And I think it does a great job. I mean, I don't remember like another health product that was like either like side of the day being discussed Absolutely. In a jury design, in a design review session, we're talking about it. People are talking about it, that's so to that point, I mean, mission accomplished, it's like the site is being revealed, by like the jury in one of the most recognized award, award, like the most, okay. Yeah. Especially now, the only, almost only, award site and institution. So I think, I think it's just it's amazing, what they achieved, between these three creatives to accomplish this task. And yeah, that's great. I mean, anyway, yeah. Let's maybe answer some questions from sorry.
But let's have one final statement about this page, and then jump to the questionnaire or to Q&A together with Rachel. So Olga, what do you think? What is your final statement? What is your overall impression of this website?
Yeah, actually, I really love how the guys make this site look different from other, not only healthcare, medical website, but also from other product websites. So they put on the first place, not the product itself, they put on the first place like feeling, experience. And this is interesting approach. This is pretty new approach for a product. And who knows, maybe it will work pretty well for their purposes. And I love aesthetic of this website. And yeah, just some small thing regarding navigation and a little bit more understanding of product. And actually, I remember one small thing, one small touch on their website. At the last section, there are some pictures and text with one click. And I really wanted to click somewhere, I really wanted, like 5 minutes clicking everywhere on each picture this section. I click in everywhere trying to, where I need to click, I want to do it with one click. So maybe if guys add here something that maybe can go to the demo, it also will be a nice touch.
That's so true. That's so true. Thank you very much, Olga. Bruno, your last statement, and then let's jump to the Q&A.
No more comments.
Perfect wrap up. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And Rachel, let's jump to the Q&A. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you guys. Massive shout out to Matt, Nelson, Clément, and Roger for answering questions in the chat. some comments, I don't know if you touched on. Nelson was talking about scrolling back, and Nelson said, sadly, scrolling back with our URL fresh was too tricky at the time because we needed to access each URL as its own page for SEO.
Makes total sense.
Makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I don't know what to say. I mean, maybe like a back kind of CTA to return to that old URL, maybe to the former URL. Maybe that could be a solution, but I don't know. I mean, it's something that's very technical to us to like maybe dive into. But yeah, but answers the question. One of our questions.
And Nelson also commented about the show demo, about you missing the show demo button. He was very grateful with the feedback and said, this is amazing. We added a show demo on the first page too. So after this, we will make it more clear.
Great. we could add some value.
We're helping. Yeah, that's great. Yeah,
absolutely. Yeah.
Constructive feedback. You see over here. Yeah.
Exactly. They said the goal was to get early adopter doctors excited. It's one of those things where your company's success is defined by how vocal your fans are. So it's for these super modern doctors.
Yeah.
Makes sense, yeah.
I hope I get one of those.
Me too.
Okay, so yeah, some questions. So a question, how do we find a balance between good user experience and visual effects?
Yeah, I would say that it's tricky scenes, and sometimes it may be really difficult to find this balance, but I think that we always don't need to forget the purpose and the goals. So what is the goal of this website? Is it just to tell a story and give a static? Or this is some channels of potential users, and we always should remember about it and making a decision depending on what are actually the goals. And don't forget, if it's about product, don't forget about product, and don't forget what actually is the purpose of all of it.
Okay, thank you, Olga. A question from Matthias Lacerda. Do you think that some micro actions and animations can confuse the reading and UX for users that want to get the information quickly or don't have a good enough computer to load the animations?
I mean,
who wants to answer that?
I can answer that. I mean, of course. But it's not a negative thing necessary. I mean, it's always about the goal. It's about the purpose. It's about creating an experience. I mean, Matt Jones is now commenting in the chat that there is like a huge team backed up by professionals, backed up by investors, and that's super interesting because this experience of the website gets people excited, gets people to think about it, to get not necessarily like every detail, but a feeling. And I think in this context, it's not necessarily super important to know every single detail of the product, but I think that it's important to get the context of the product, and also and that's what I think would be even more lovely is who is behind that, yeah? And I mean, that's also adding additional value and additional information, which is also interesting for the target group. So long story short, yes, this kind of experience is not necessarily there for getting all the information or all the details, but it's about experiencing a brand, experiencing a vision, and it's backed up by a product in the later process. And I think it's a fantastic product, a fantastic overall experience. And I'm very sure that there will be many more iterations and many more development of getting more people and more professionals and more doctors into this cosmos.
Yeah. If I can add something as well, that I think it's always this debate about, I think that question is always that very big debate that I think all the time, every time that I've been here, like in the design, in the jury reveals, and even like in Twitter or something, I mean, I think people always bring that up to the fact that, you know, how all this interactivity that the sites that are, you know, being awarded in like awards institutions and things like that, how are they, what's the focus, you know? Is that the general public? Is that for a particular amount of people that has, like, you know, the latest devices with like the most up to speed connections and all that? And I think there is like a lot of arguments about that I think I always try to talk about, because there's a lot of developers that say, I mean, oh, this is, I mean, I hate that because that's not very accessible, or this is that. And I think there is a point, I think, that it's exactly, I'm going to use the same word that Jonas used, brand experience. You know, it's like these sites are communicative tools for like brand awareness and brand experiences. Like when you create things like that, and when you use these like these interfaces, these devices, like this when I say device, meaning like interactions and all these things, tools that we have in the arsenal to like put this brand experience to another level. I think it's like this bespoke experience. Is like it's the difference between entering like a normal store, like, you know, kind of like a high street store, versus like this more like flagship store. You know, it's, I think it's this I think it's that difference. Yeah, maybe it's not for everyone, you know, but I think I mean the idea is that it's supposed to be for everyone. Yes, like that's why the performance checks, that's why the performance reviews from our developer jury is so important, you know, because like, yes, we want to put these experiences to everyone possible. But at the same time, I think that these things are leading the industry. They're like, what we're doing here, I think, in that regard, is like we're dictating what's coming next. You know, like 5G is coming, for example. Like with that, you know, higher speed rates, you know, like these sites are going to perform much better. You know, devices are improving, like processes and devices are improving every day, every month or so. And I think what we are doing is like we're like in the very like edge of the industry, like dictating what's coming next, you know, like, so sometimes what we are doing here, it's not going to be used in like, I don't know, in a Google site or like, you know, Twitter, or like a platform like that, you know, that is meant to everyone. But what we're doing is like a couple of these micro interactions that we are introducing in these sites, they're going to be like, as the years evolve and as the months evolve, they're like being used through like two major audiences. Lottie was something that, you know, in the beginning no one used, and then Facebook started to use and Twitter started to use. So I think this being on the very edge is very kind of like what this thing is all about in a way.
Okay, good. Thank you, Bruno. We've got a question from Joseph Lescano, and he says, it seems like every site nowadays is using WebGL, 3JS, 3D. Is this the new standard for beautiful, exciting websites?
Who wants to start?
I just spoke. I'll leave it to Olga or Jonas.
I think that this technology, like every year, technology is developing, and we get more new things, and even with, especially with 3D, right? Few years ago, there was much less, and there was much less possibility to do a 3D and have a good performance website. Now we have a lot of possibilities, and we can add something more, like give more experience, add something more beautiful. And I think that 3D works good with it. And I think that in a couple years, it definitely will be a trend, and we will have more such websites, and they will be more cooler, more faster, and yeah.
I think, I mean, to also add something to that, because that's very, very true. Part of design, or part of the definition of design, is problem solving. And we are using technology, or using current trends, or using flows or best practices, which we are trying to combine, and with that trying to solve problems of the users, problem of the business, problems of communication, and since technology, or since WebGL and things like that are more and more accessible and easier to get introduced to, also through things like the Awwwards Academy and things like that, you can see that more and more and more, of course. And especially, let's say, the Awwwards Academy, the Awwwards community love immersive experiences like that. And this is, and even if the Awwwards platform is the, I don't know if you can say that, but it's cutting edge. It's the head of the spear in regarding of these experiences. But unfortunately, we cannot show on Awwwards also products and services which are not public accessible. And these are also very, very interesting, and very, very, very working with other kind of, or other focuses of different technologies. And so it's not all the websites are going into this direction, but we are in the phase of that these things are getting more accessible. And whatever the way is, as long as we are solving a problem and getting and adding value to the internet, which is already full of bad things, we can embrace this experience, and we can add value to that by focusing on the user and focusing on how can we help, because I think that there's already enough trash, and let's move forward to create beautiful and especially objectively helping products and services and websites.
And more to projects as well that does that thing. I mean, like, and for example, like one of the great elements of this project, this product and project isn't the same thing. It's the fact that it's a thing for the planet. I mean, we're removing paper, you know, and I think that's great. I mean, we're like with like bringing attention to a project like this is like it's something that's sustainable. It's something that it's something that's good in the long run. So the more we see projects and products like that in the industry, like, and even spearheading, you know, technology and creative output, I think it's fantastic. And yeah. And I don't know. I think overall, it's just something that that Jonas was just saying. Like, Awwwards is so it's so special to that to the community, because what we're doing as a team of people is like is bringing these tools, this knowledge to like more and more communities, people around the world. Like, there's, I think the fact that, you know, even on the courses in the academy, we have like, you know, subtitles in like many languages, you know, so people from every place in the world, I mean, can access these courses and can learn how to do these things. So I think to that point, I think we are like in the very edge like of the industry. And I think what we're doing is like trying to get more and more people interested in bringing those ideas forward. And I think, you know, it's so nice to see, you know, like Matt Jones, which is the CEO of like this great company, this great product, like being interested in doing things like that. You know, this is important. I mean, like, it's not every CEO, it's not every, you know, kind of like C-level decision stakeholder that it's interested in combining their product, you know, with like cutting edge technology like these. And I think it's so great that, you know, we need more people like that. I mean, our idea is like, let's make the web more beautiful. Let's make the web more, more like, you know, to that extent, even like Jonas said, like that we can create purposeful experiences, like, and that combines form and function in a rather great way. And yeah, but also having the form, not just the function, because a lot of the sites only has the function, and I think this is great.
Okay, thank you, Bruno, and thank you for all the love. And I think that's a really nice high point to end on. So yeah, time's up. Massive thank you to Matt, Nelson, Clement, and Roger for joining.
Definitely,
And all all their feedback. And yeah, thank you to everyone at home. Thank you for all your comments, and thank you for watching and accompanying us today. So yeah, we've got another live jury website review in 2 weeks, and Nicolo Miranda is back, and he's going to be joined by Rafael Dante, and of course Jonas Lempa will be with us again, and that's on June the 10th in 2 weeks. So massive thank you to the jury today, Olga, Jonas, and Bruno. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Thank you. It was our pleasure.
Thank you too. Thank you, Olga, Bruno, Rachel, the whole awards team, and for sure, Clément, Roger, and Nelson, and everybody, Matt, yeah, and everybody in the comment section. It was a great fun. Thank you, everybody. It was cool.
Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, and we'll see you all next time on Awwwards Academy.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye.